we continue with the analysis of Act 2, Scene 6. On this scene, we are not going to analyze everything, but we will see how Graciano, Salarino, Salanio, Lorenzo, they all meet with Jessica, who is disguised as the torch bearer, yes? And we will see that Jessica, yes, we will see what Jessica does. Let us listen to this. Let me share my screen with you. And find the right spot. We will listen to it and then we will analyze it together, okay?
Scene 6. The same. Enter Graciano and Salarino, masked.
This is the penthouse under which Lorenzo desired us to make stand.
His hour is almost past.
And it is marvel he outdwells his hour, for lovers ever run before the clock.
Oh, 10 times faster Venus pigeons fly to seal love's bonds new made than they are wont to keep obliged faith unforfeited.
That ever holds. Who riseth from a feast with that keen appetite that he sits down? Where is the horse that doth untread again his tedious measures with the unbated fire that he did pace them first? All things that are with more spirit chaste than enjoyed. How like a younker or a prodigal the scarfed bark puts from her native bay, hugged and embraced by the strumpet wind. How like the prodigal doth she return, with over-weathered ribs and ragged sails, lean, rent, and beggared by the strumpet wind.
Here comes Lorenzo. More of this hereafter.
Enter Lorenzo.
Sweet friends, you're patient for my long abode. Not I, but my affairs have made you wait. When you shall please to play the thieves for wives, I'll watch as long for you then. Approach, here dwells my father Jew. Ho, who's within?
Here, we're not going to analyze the first part. We know that Graciano, Salarino, they are waiting for Lorenzo. Lorenzo is running late. They are close, yet they are outside Shylock's house because they have gone there to look for Jessica, okay? And when Lorenzo enters, he says, "Sweet friends, your patience for my long abode." So he apologized for being late. It was because of his affairs that he was late, yes? And they will see Jessica coming from above, from her house, wearing boys' clothes. So this is the first instance of cross-dressing and also a disruption of order, because in the hierarchy of beings, remember that men were above women. And Jessica is disguising herself as a boy. That means that this is an instance of a disruption of order. And we know that at that time, disrupting the natural order of things could have terrible consequences. Or at least this is what they believed that could happen. Okay, so let us continue listening a bit more.
Enter Jessica, above, in boy's clothes.
Who are you? Tell me for more certainty, howbeit I'll swear that I do know your tongue.
Lorenzo, and thy love.
Lorenzo, certain, and my love indeed. For who love I so much? And now who knows but you, Lorenzo, whether I am yours?
Heaven and thy thoughts are witness that thou art.
Here, catch this casket, it is worth the pains. I am glad 'tis night, you do not look on me, for I am much ashamed of my exchange. But love is blind, and lovers cannot see the pretty follies that themselves commit. For if they could, Cupid himself would blush to see me thus transformed to a boy.
Descend, for you must be my torch-bearer.
What, must I hold a candle to my shames? They in themselves, good sooth, are too light. Why, 'tis an office of discovery, love, and I should be obscured.
So are you, sweet, even in the lovely garnish of a boy. But come at once, for the closed night doth play the runaway, and we are stayed for at Bassanio's feast.
I will make fast the doors, and gild myself with some more ducats, and be with you straight.
Exit above.
Okay, up to here, so Jessica and Lorenzo have a sort of a romantic interaction, although we can always see that Jessica is trying to be accepted into the group, because it's not so easy for her, because even when she wants to run away, even when she doesn't feel identified with her father's values and character, she is her father's daughter, and she is a Jew, yes, so it's not going to be easy for her, and she will have to buy her acceptance into the group, yes. Of course, she is afraid. She says, "Who are you? Tell me for more certainty. Albeit, although I swear that I do know your tongue, so I recognize your voice, but just in case, tell me who you are." So Lorenzo replies, "Lorenzo and your love. Lorenzo certain and my love indeed. For who love I so much? And now who knows but you, Lorenzo, whether I am yours?" So she's trying to have a romantic interaction, but Lorenzo is in a rush, and even when he's very polite to reply, he keeps rushing her. Yes. Then Lorenzo tells her that he has the torch, so that she can be the torch bearer, and she's embarrassed. She's ashamed because she will have to take the torch, and people will see her dressed up as a boy. So she is a little bit ashamed of this situation. Yes. And the last thing that Jessica says is, I will make, this is line 50, "I will make fast the doors and gild myself with some more ducats and be with you straight." So I will gild myself with some more ducats. Ducats, it's a kind of coin, of golden coin, that it was used to pay things in Elizabethan times. Yes. So he's stealing the money from her father. Yes. "I will bring more ducats." That means that she already has some. Yes. "And we with you straight." Yes. And Graciano says, "Now by my hood," this is an exclamation, "a gentle and not a Jew." A gentle is a reference to the word Gentile. This is a word that it was used to call the people who were not Jews. Okay, so Graciano calls Jessica a gentle as a compliment. Yes, not as an insult. Yes, so she can't be a Jew because she's too nice to be one. Yes. Let us continue listening a bit more.
Now by my hood, a Gentile and no Jew.
Beshrew me, but I love her heartily, for she is wise, if I can judge of her, and fair she is, if that mine eyes be true. And true she is, as she hath proved herself, and therefore like herself, wise, fair, and true. Shall she be placed in my constant soul?
Enter Jessica.
What, art thou come? On, gentlemen, away! Our masking mates bide this time for a stay.
Exit with Jessica.
Okay, so Jessica comes downstairs. Yes, well, before that, Lorenzo says, "Beshrew me, so please dare me, but I love her heartily." So he really loves her. Yes, she is wise, if that I can judge of her. She is fair, she is beautiful, if my eyes are true. And true she is, as she has proved herself, and therefore like herself, wise, fair, and true. These are the three words that Lorenzo uses to describe Jessica. Yes. So what he means is that he doesn't need, and even when she's all of these things, she also has money. Like we have to be aware of this, because we are not silly. We know that Lorenzo may love her, but we also know that he may be with her because she has a lot of money. Yes. So this is the end of this very short scene. And before we go to a different part of the text, I invite you to go to, we're going to skip this scene because we are going to analyze it in a different video. Yes. And if you go to Act 2, Scene 8, yes, we are going to see, we are not going to listen to it. Yes, let me. Salarino and Solanio are making some comments on how they have seen Bassanio taking sail to go and see Portia, yes, and they are going to discuss a little bit about Jessica. Let me see. If you go to Solanio's words if you go to line 12, yes, they describe the moment in which he found out that Jessica had eloped, yes. So notice the passing of time, how Shakespeare shows that time has passed by, that Bassanio is already sailing towards Portia, and that Shylock has already found out that Jessica has eloped with Lorenzo. And if you go to line 12, Solanio says, I never heard a passion so confused, so strange, outrageous, and so variable, as the dog Jew did utter in the streets, my daughter, oh my ducats, oh my daughter, fled with a Christian, oh my Christian ducats, justice, the law, my ducats and my daughter, a seal bag, 2 seal bags of ducats, of double ducats stolen from me by my daughter, and jewels, 2 stones, 2 rich and precious stones stolen by my daughter. Justice, find the girl, she has the stones upon her and the ducats. So one of the things that is interesting is how Solanio describes the incident. Yes, first he calls Shylock the dog Jew. Yes, that he was screaming on the streets, oh my daughter, oh my ducats, oh my daughter, oh my ducats. And if you allow me, they are the word ducats and daughter is like they are almost mixed up. And I think that Shakespeare wanted to show us that maybe we are not so sure whether it was more important for Shylock, the ducats or her daughter. Yes, because he would keep saying, my daughter, my ducats, my daughter, my ducats. So they sound very similar and they could be confused. And maybe Shakespeare did this on purpose. Fled with a Christian, oh, my Christian ducats, justice, the law, because the Jews always put the emphasis there. Yes, and he gives a whole description of all the things that she has stolen. It's not only ducats, but stones and jewelry, okay? And then Salarino will describe the moment in which Antonio and Bassanio say goodbye to each other before Bassanio goes to see Portia. And this is on line 36. They are talking about Antonio. A kinder gentleman treads not the earth. I saw Bassanio and Antonio part. Bassanio told him he would make some speed of his return. He answered, do not so. Slabber not business for my sake, Bassanio, but stay the very ripening of the time. And for the just bond which he has on me, let it not enter in your mind of love. Be merry and employ your chiefest thoughts to courtship, and such fair ostenance of love as shall conveniently become you there. And even there, his eyes being big with tears, turning his face, he put his hand behind him, and with affection wondrous sensible, he wrung Bassanio's hand, and so they parted. I think he only loves the world for him. I pray thee, let us go and find him out, and quicken his embraced heaviness with some delight or other. Do we so? So let us focus on the words that Salarino says about Antonio. Remember what we said about friendships between men at that time, that maybe even when we can think that Antonio and Bassanio may have a love relationship going on, that maybe Shakespeare is not making entirely explicit, we see that they are very close, yes, especially in this, we can see it through the eyes of Salarino. He says, I saw Bassanio and Antonio part, so he has seen the moment in which they say goodbye to each other. Bassanio told him he would make some speed of his return, so Bassanio told him he would rush, he would hurry up to return, yes. And what was it that Antonio replied? Do not so, slabber not business for my sake, Bassanio, but stay the very ripening of the time. So do not rush for me. Do all the business that you have to do. Mind you, the business is Portia, but well, that's another thing, and it has to do with the conventions of Elizabethan society. Yes? But stay the very ripening of the time, and for the Jew's bond, for the contract that I have with the Jew, which he has on me, let it not enter into your mind of love. So do not worry about the contract. Yes, take it out of your mind. Be merry, be happy, and employ your chiefest thoughts to courtship. So concentrate on winning Portia's heart. Yes? And such fair absence of love as shall conveniently become you there. And even there, his eyes being big with tears, notice the use of alliteration, the repetition of the initial sound. Turning his face, he put his hand behind him, and with affection, wondrous sensible, with a strong emotion, he wrung Bassanio's hand. So they grab each other's hand, yes, and they parted. So look at all these emotions. So his eyes were big with they were swelling with tears, yes, and he put his hand in his back, yes, with that big emotion. So they could see that they had a very emotional departure, a very emotional farewell, yes, and this says a lot about their relationship, okay, and about the role of men and about the role of women, okay. So this is important because it has to do with the relationship that they have and how we will see what happens at the end in connection with their story.